Perfect. All right, very good. Hi everybody. This is Brad Eardley. I'm coming to you from the Dream Career Revival Program, and I'm here today with Deepal Parikh, and she and I are going to talk a little bit about the passion and the mission underneath the work that she does in the healing industry, and we're going to talk a little bit more about her process of moving from the work that she was doing previously, um, and some of the things that happened in her life that inspired, pushed, prompted her to make this big change. So Deepal, I'll hand it over to you and you can talk about your programs and feel free to do a little bit of marketing like I was saying, and go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Brad, for that introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Deepal Parikh from Allergy and Health Balance LLC, located in Andover, Massachusetts. So I'm an allergy release technique practitioner, a nutritional therapy practitioner, and also a Reiki master. And we use a synergy of all these modalities to heal clients and help them with basically two sets of services: allergy release technique and nutritional therapy programs. Now, ART, the allergy release technique, is a holistic treatment for curing food allergies and treating other immune conditions and sensitivities. It's different from conventional treatments because, what's amazing, it gets to the root cause of the allergies, which is an overreactive immune system. And it also calms your anxiety response. And this technique has been successful in treating, mild to severe food allergies, lactose intolerance, environmental pet metals, chemical allergy sensitivities. You have asthma, eczema, psoriasis, IBS, chronic Lyme disease, PANDAS, and just much more. So it's just an amazing healing that I've seen in my family, and I'm trying to offer that to others. And besides that, what touches my heart a lot is also a nutritional program called Restart that's been existent for 4 or 5 years, and thousands of participants across the countries have benefited from it. It's basically a 5 week of group program that consists of nutrition education, completely guided sugar detox, and a private support group. Now, it's such a great way. The Restart is such a great way to give a simple, powerful break to your body, a vacation from sugar, processed food, inflammatory foods, and it teaches you how to use just the real foods. No supplements, no detox smoothies, and all that. Just use real food for your inner and external healing. And the benefits that participants usually see with this program are increased energy, deep and restful sleep, the clothes start fitting better, reduce aches and pains, boosted immune system, curb sugar and carb cravings, and much more. So I'm so excited that I'm able to spread the word out for these healing techniques with Brad along here.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. So just to be transparent with everyone, so myself and my wife, Catherine, we are currently at the very beginning of our own experience of the Restart program. And so far, it's everything that Deepa was just saying, that we have the opportunity now to encounter food and food cravings in a way that, we don't usually. And for example, one of the things that I was just saying to Deepal before we started recording is that one of the things that I'm realizing is how much fruit I always used to eat. And that was a way for me to get sugar into my body and into my system. And so the thoughtfulness and the mindfulness around the food that I'm eating has already increased just by recognizing that fruit is healthy, but fruit is also a form of sugar. And so looking for nutrient, looking for the need behind, the hunger feelings that I get from time to time has just been interesting it's interesting to meet those needs in a deeper way, and then to encounter the emotion and the thoughts that come up around that stuff. And I know for sure, Deepal, that's part of the process for many, many people as well. Food is so emotional and so mental. So I'm really excited about it, and Catherine and I are having a great time with it so far. So highly recommended. So to get into the first thing that I'd love to hear you talk about, Deepal, is tell us about what you were doing prior to connecting with the allergy release technique. And because it sounds like you started the allergy release technique stuff prior to Restart. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So talk about what you were doing prior to the ART And just, what was your mentality like in that job before you even knew what ART was and before sort of like, the things happened that led you there?
Got it. So it's a very drastic change from what I was doing in my past to now. So I've been an electronics engineer, and I've been in the software industry for last 20 years. For the last 10 years, I've been consistently working with this company in Boston, and we were managing behavioral health and substance abuse clients. And I was building up different algorithms and protocols to track the substance abuse, the depression cases, to make sure they're taking their medicines on time. So, we were involved in a deep software project that I worked for 10 years, and it was an amazing job. I had my own work hours, 6:30 to 2:30, and then I would be with my children, and I can log back in over the weekends or nights if needed. I had to go into office once a week and then eventually once a month. So it was such a great work-life balance. So that is practically I did. Before getting into all this. But what happened is 15 years back when I had my children, they were struggling with their allergies. And then when my son was born, like 13 years back, he got a bunch of those. And it has been a struggle since then. So I was constantly trying to balance my job, but also keep them healthy, nourished, making sure they were in that safe bubble, because his allergies were really severe. And what happened a couple years, not a couple years, 2018, he had two severe reactions and he had to be rushed in a hospital in an ambulance. And that was really traumatic for him, for me,
Yeah.
for the whole family. And
Wow.
that's when I felt a need that what I was offered around us in terms of health wasn't enough in keeping him safe. And
Mhm.
that's when my exploration started to what can heal him, keep him safe. And I needed my answers. And that's when I came across ART, because that's given so much healing to my family. He's able to eat much more food now. We're working with the severe allergies. My daughter and my husband are completely healed. They can step out in the spring and just enjoy the weather and not sniff and have runny nose because they're all treated. So it's such a big healing that I started seeing with them, and that's the path I took on. I quit my job a couple years back, and I started training myself. I got my training in nutrition and ART. I just went cold turkey, and
Wow.
it's been working out great. I'm really happy with what I'm doing.
Did you have any inclination? So when you were doing the electrical engineer, the software stuff, Deepal, did you have any sense of like, this isn't for me. I could be doing more than this. I mean, it sounds like it was a great job in so many ways. And there's no right or wrong answer to this. I'm just curious. Did you have this sense like, man, there might be something more for me in this life than doing what I'm doing?
I think so, but you're so busy with the lives, just trying to, you're just in the
Yeah.
flow, constantly managing and balancing things. But what I knew now that I look back is, anytime my friends' families had any health issues, I was right on top of it. There was, let's try this, let's try this, let's try it. I was research, like colloidal silver, or let's get some probiotics, very natural, like
Mhm.
going on the Ayurveda concepts. So that is something I did as a passion. And then when I quit my job, I could connect the dots and I could realize that was just hiding all behind. And I just had to bring it out in the front and push
Bring
the
it out.
software thing behind me.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you so did you find ART through, like, it sounds like you're great with the research. So did you find ART on your own, or did someone bring that to you?
Um, I think I found it on my own, but before doing that, I tried a lot of other things. I tried acupuncture, acupressure,
Yeah.
homeopathy. I did magnetic therapies. I went to rural parts of India. That's where I'm originally from, and
Uh-huh.
I tried those organic healing techniques for my son, and nothing was helping him. And
Wow.
then I looked up and I came across ART, which was originated in Lexington like 15 years back. And that was just so local. So I had to take advantage of that. And
For sure.
then the healing for my son was just very obvious that that's something I want to be able to give to others too.
Yes, yes, exactly. And when you introduced yourself the other night, and this is what sort of spawned the idea of this interview, you were talking about your son. And so I would love to hear, and again, just do the best that you can. I would love to hear, Deepal, like, what was the moment? Do you remember a moment where, kind of like what you were saying, but maybe a little bit more specific? Do you remember what was there a moment when, you were doing this ART and it was really working? And so that's one thing, right? Like your process prior to that was that you tried a lot of different things and nothing was working. And so number one, you're totally resilient and you never gave up. Amazing characteristics, very, very important characteristics for a parent for sure. But nonetheless, not every parent has those characteristics, as you know. So kudos to you that you never gave up and you just let that love for your son just continue to guide you, and as well as your interest in alternative, quote unquote, like, yeah, like you were saying, non-Western healing modalities. So you tried ART and it started to work. What was the moment where it was like, wow, this is so powerful? And like you were saying, I'd love to be able to share this with more people. Do you like, was there a moment? Maybe there wasn't, but if there was a moment, do you remember it?
Yes, there was a moment. So my family had 3 years back, yeah, 2, 3 years back, when my son had those severe reactions, there was a second one following that. Luckily, I was home with him and I gave the emergency treatment and he was alive. But that was a trigger. I thought there were two signs from the universe telling me that, I need to figure something else out. And then my husband was really sick around that time also. And totally Western medicine has its advantages. And I've taken, it's really great in some situations. In my husband's health case, it turned out to be opposite. He was put on medications that was hurting him more. So that's
Mhm.
when those were the two boosting things that, hey, you know what? I can't just go blindly with all the faith, putting all the faith in that, and I need to find alternatives with that. And while doing that, I have the spiritual guru. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I started doing this meditations because I just needed a lot of mental strength just to keep family healthy and safe and just move on with job and just everything. And when I started doing his meditations, it was this one fine morning. I remember it was about manifesting what you want to do in your life. I closed my
Mhm.
eyes and I meditated for that 30, 40 minutes, and I could see that this is what I want to do. I want to heal people. And it was those meditations. I have to give credit to that. What he taught and he mentioned, gave me the courage to just completely quit my job and take up this new path with a lot of insecurity and risk. And I was never originally trained in that field, so it was
Right.
that moment, and I just went up and told my husband, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to quit it, and I just want to start a new passion, new career with this. So I clearly remember it was spring of 2019, I believe. That's when this
Okay.
happened, someday in April.
Okay.
And I can really vividly remember that moment. And he had sleepless nights for a couple weeks after that.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What so and so let me so the what you're saying is so important. There's so many different things about it that I think are relevant to what I talk about with my clients and in the program that I run. So what you're talking about, Deepal, is your mindset, and you're talking about visualization. And so you had this moment of clarity, it sounds like, where when you thought about ART and when you thought about making this, instead of doing this as a way to help your family, when you thought about doing this as a way to just move through life and to share it with other people and other families and other and again, with the way that you do it, it doesn't just have to be, I'm in my office doing ART. You can do ART with anybody anywhere, right? Because of the virtual aspect of it, correct? It doesn't just have to be local people.
So ART, unfortunately, is not that. Restart is that.
Oh,
Restart,
restart is
yeah,
that.
restart.
Okay,
I'm doing it
got you.
even with international clients. We've had
International,
clients,
yes.
yes, but with ART, it's one-on-one.
Okay.
So because we use a frequency machine here in the office,
Oh,
that
yeah,
helps.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's one-on-one, Brad.
Got you, got you. So that is face to face, and because of the diagnostic machine that you use in
Yeah,
that process.
yeah, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so that moment, you were doing this visualization, you were doing this meditation, and you had this level of insight, profound insight. And so then you brought that to your husband, and you said he had a few sleepless nights, but ultimately he obviously agreed. Um, And so I think part of what I want people to take away from this is not only like the amazing work that you're doing, Deepal, and I would highly recommend anyone who's having any kind of health issue to at least get in touch with Deepal and have a conversation and see what the possibilities are. Because the work that you're doing is amazing. And in addition to that, part of what I try to help people with is that moment where you had that insight and you were able to make a decision and say, like, you know what, I'm going to go for this. This is what I'm going to do. Because I think a lot of people are in a place where, they're either fully burnt out or they're doing fine in their work, but there's something missing or something comes up, like what happened with you and your family. Like something came up, something continued to come up. It wasn't just a one-time thing. It sounds like you had some really, really scary moments there. So I'm so grateful that, everything worked out and that everyone ended up being safe and, look at where everyone is today. Incredible transformation. But I guess I'm wondering, like, what would you say to someone who has that sort of sense of like, I should be doing something different, but they're not quite sure, like, what's my next step? Would you say that the meditation was, it sounds like the meditation was very important? Was there something around some emotional work that you might have been doing through the meditation? What do you think made the difference as far as you being able to say, yes, this is it, and I'm actually going to do it? It's not just that insight, but I'm actually going to take action. I'm going to go for it.
So I think it starts with your passion first. I realized that that was my passion. I realized that I want to be able to help heal people. And that was a realization. And then after that realization, you still have your analytical mind going over, hey, what about my children will be going to college in 3 years? What about the fees? What if I quit my job? I know I'll have to financially manage for next 2 3 years, right, until I'm settled. So all those practical questions come in, and then you're thinking about, hey, maybe I should make the switch 4 or 5 years down the line when they are settled. But that's never true. I feel the moment to change something is right now. And I didn't have answers to a lot of questions, Brad. I didn't know how I was going to financially support my family. My husband is amazing. He's my best support. He's my best critic. He does more for me than I do for myself, I feel. So, and my children, they're amazing. They help with marketing, and they're social media friendly, and they teach me how to work on Facebook, Instagram. So
Yeah.
they're all my teachers. But beyond that, I felt that there were a lot of times I didn't know what was I going to do. With ART, I didn't know how many clients will I have to start with, right? But when I started going in the flow, and I still kept meditating every morning in my manifestation, I see that I'm working with these ART clients. I close my eyes, they are healing, and they're so happy, and that's my psychic income. I kept
Yeah.
doing that because I believe in the
Psychic
law of
income.
attraction, right? You can't have doubts in your mind. And you know what happened? As time moved on, I never decided I'm going to be a restart instructor. I never, well, I knew that I was going to learn nutrition, because with ART, it's also important that when the clients are done with ART, I want them to be able to support themselves by eating the right kind of food. I don't want them to come back to me a few years down the line
Right.
because, they're not eating the right way. So I knew I was going to train myself in nutrition, but I didn't see all this happening. And then as I moved on, the doors just started opening for me.
Yeah.
There were so many unanswered questions that were now getting answers. I also work with acupuncturists now, and I try to support his healing, which he's doing with clients, because I want to be in that field, right? So all these things just opened up. I had no idea that this was going to happen. So,
Wow.
the moment to make the switch is right now. And you have to be mentally strong. You have to dream your future every day, and have a gratitude at the end of it, that I'm so thankful that, and with that feeling of gratitude and that strong intention, whatever you're carrying on, I think it'll make that happen.
Wow. I love what you're saying, Deepa. This is so powerful. I was getting chills as you were talking. Especially when you said many things that gave me chills. The first thing that you said that really stands out is you said that you had so many unanswered questions. And I know for sure that so many people don't make the leap. They don't take the leap because they want to have the perfect plan, right? They want to have everything figured out. They want it to feel safe. and they want it to feel like a sure thing. Um, but it'll, just like you said, you'll never get there. You'll never have a perfect plan because the mind can always create
Yeah,
new questions and
correct.
new insecurities that
Yeah.
you don't have answers to. And so if you're always waiting to have answers to all of your questions, just like you said, it'll never happen. So that was so powerful when you said that, because for sure, anyone who goes through this process ultimately has to take a leap of faith at some point. And faith in what? Hard to say, hard to put words on it, but at the end of the day, very explicitly, it's faith in yourself and faith in your dream.
Hmm.
And when you were talking about psychic income, wow, that was just such a powerful phrase. I've never heard that phrase before, but it's so true. So one of the things that I've been learning as I've been going through my process of building my business as well is recognizing every opportunity to serve people is a gift. And it has nothing to do with whether or not people decide to enroll at that moment in my program or not. It has nothing to do with that. It really has to do with, why am I here on this planet? I'm here to serve people. And so, yes, I would love to serve as many people as possible who are suffering from the condition of burnout. I would love to help as many of those people as I possibly can. But there are a lot of other ways to help people as well. And there are a lot of ways to help people that don't generate income in the moment. And so when you talk about psychic income, for me, what that meant, and then you use the word at the end, you use the word gratitude,
Mm.
how important gratitude is in all of this, which is just being grateful for the things that do come. Because once you take that leap, and it's not like, well, I took the leap now, and in the media, it's like I took the leap at 4:01, and at 4:02, all of my questions were answered. It doesn't work like that. At
Yes.
4:01, I took the leap, and then it's just sort of like, you just have to keep taking the leap in a sense, right? You keep putting yourself out there again and again and again. It's not a one-time decision. It's you're continually taking a leap of faith. And when you do that, the other stuff does come, and things come into your life that, like you said, that in a sense, maybe you had a sense of, but that you never could have imagined. Um, and it all connects the deeper you get into it and the more you live out your commitment to it. And so I loved your emphasis on continuing to meditate, continuing to live in that future state and feeling the gratitude. Because in my program, I encourage people to do a lot of visualization and a vision board and things of that nature. And what sometimes gets missed is that, a vision board is not just a collage of cool things. A vision board is really meant to excite and create emotion, positive emotion, because the
Totally.
positive emotion, like the gratitude in particular, that's when you really start to attract the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're living in that space where it's already happened. You're not craving, you're not forcing, you're not trying to control. You're just being grateful for the abundance that happens in this life. So
Totally.
I was really touched by so many different things that you said.
Thank you. Thank you. And like even when I now look back, my practice opened up when COVID hit around that time. So it was the worst, it was the worst
Right,
situation where I
right.
had to move on. And it's fine. It's fine. It worked. Maybe
Yeah,
I had more struggle than what I had envisioned, but it just it just worked out fine. It works out fine. I think you have to keep your mind strong. You have to keep constantly believing in the potential you want to see yourself in there, and you'll be there. You'll be there. It's quantum physics, a lot of quantum physics.
that's right. That's right. That's right. It already exists,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
matter of allowing it to happen.
Yep. Well.
And again, not asking about perfection, asking just about your intention. What does your daily practice of meditation and mindfulness training look like currently? You've come so far, and again, Deepal, I'm sure you've seen this too. Some people experience great success, and then because they've experienced success, they feel like they can sort of like take a vacation, if you will, from the techniques, from the mindfulness, from the meditation, from the visualization. And it's not too long before all of a sudden, like, things start to like not work anymore. So that commitment to your dream and commitment to a daily practice, again, not about perfection, but just about attention, is so important. I hear that from you. So what is your daily practice look like, Deepal?
um so there are two aspects I work on constantly: making myself being and it all started was reading Dr. Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I love that book. It taught me how to really work on things because I'm a mother, and some days I feel like I can be a better version of myself, Maybe I need to treat my children a little differently than what I treated them. There's always that. So it's always, I feel we are always whipped work in progress. I tell my
Mm,
kids, my daughter is sometimes disappointed with her soccer skills. And I've said, Reina, we are work in progress. We're not at the perfection. So we're constantly. So in my practice, there are two things I constantly work on. Um, any personal aspects of me where I feel I can be better, I can be stronger, I can be a better human being. I put that one personal aspect in me every day. Like, for example, what I'm working on right now is, I should not have any ego. Sometimes you when you carry that ego, it could go in part of your healing. So I want to just bring down all my ego. So that's one of the personal aspects I'm working on. The second aspect is with my ARD clients, I picturize some of them. I see them heal. I see them eating anything and everything without having those allergies and symptoms. Or even with Restart, where I see my clients, they now think food as a medicine. Food is the first
mm,
medicine that they go on to. So I just picturize, I visualize. I start with a body induction technique for the initial 20-25 minutes as part of my meditation. And then I set myself two potentials. One is my own personal potential. One is my professional potential, where I want to be there. And I want to be working with, say, 20-30 clients, and they're all coming in my office. And I'm just so happy with a lot of gratitude and all that. So that is how I work with. So you're looking at a practice of about anywhere from 40 to 45 minutes. I used to do it daily, 7 days a week. I've done it for a couple of years. With this practice going on, I'm not being able to do it every day, but any moment, every morning. My day starts at 5:30 in the morning. That's the first thing I'll go to. And if I don't have that 45 minutes, I'll just do a quick chakra meditation of 10,
mm.
15 minutes, trying to align my chakras and have my energy flowing, do some tapping around it with some energy medicine, and my day gets started.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And you're talking about 45 minutes, and to someone who is new to a daily meditation and mindfulness routine, that can sound like a lot. But what I've found, and I'm imagining that you found this as well, is that once you really get into it, the 45 minutes just flies by, and it doesn't feel. There are times when it sort of can feel like quote unquote work, just to get yourself into that space. But once you're in it, and once you're doing it correctly, um, it's so joyful. It creates so much joy, and it creates so much gratitude. And again, for people who are learning those techniques, it can feel very forced. It can feel very like stressful, and I have to do this and blah blah blah. And there's so much pressure around it, which is so connected to ego, like what you were talking about. Um, and so it's almost like there's a developmental process with a mindfulness routine and with a meditation routine, where you kind of most people have to go through everything that it's not supposed to be until they
Yeah,
discover
yeah,
exactly what it is supposed to be.
yeah,
And that's when it really starts to work. That's when it really starts to feel like it's not work. It's actually
yeah,
an incredible gift that you're
yeah,
giving to yourself, but
yeah.
that you're also giving to all the people in your life, because you're showing up from that place of
Hmm.
joy and
Hmm.
abundance and clarity.
Yeah,
And that reverberates through
totally.
all of your relationships and interactions, right?
Totally, totally. Yeah, yeah. And you crave that. That's what I felt. Like when I hit after 6 months is when I would say I just went on and on for 6 months. After 6 months, I had my first great experience. And then I want to do it because I want to experience that same
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
again next time. And it doesn't happen that frequently, but you don't give up. You just keep trying. And that
Right.
moment, sometimes there are times when tears are just coming out of your eyes because of happiness. So, you crave that.
Right, right. Exactly. And I love what you said there. It's not like, I had this amazing breakthrough, and that's going to happen every single time I meditate. It doesn't happen like
Mm,
that.
mm,
But you come from the place of desiring that, that aha moment, that
mm,
enlightenment, that healing. And it's not going to happen outside of that zone, right? And it's not going to happen on its own. So we kind of have to do our fair share. We
Correct.
have to like put ourselves into that space. We have to live out that commitment, and we have to show up, um, because that's where it will happen. It's
Yes.
just that we have to be in that place in order for it to happen. We're not forcing it, because you can't
Yes.
force it, but
Yes.
you have to be there in order for it
Yes.
to happen.
Go without expectation.
Go without expectation. That's right. So important, right? It's not just not having expectations, it's take action
Yeah.
without expectation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you're
Beautiful.
not disappointed. So, yes, set an intention, go without expectation. And when it comes up, you'll be thrilled. You'll be
Yeah.
surprised.
Right. It will be a gift. That's right. Well, Deepal, this interview has absolutely been a gift for me. I didn't know, I knew the very, very basics of the story in the background, but I didn't know any of the stuff that you were doing around mindfulness and visualization, and some of these terms that you've brought into my life, like psychic income. Um, and I love that sort of go without expectation. That's a great gift. So I want to thank you so much for making the time. I know you're very busy. Thank you again. And is there anything else that you want to say about your business or about anything to market before we end? I want to give you a few minutes to do so if you want to.
Um, no, I think I don't want to market myself. I just want people to know that, with my family struggle, there's so much more than just the traditional medicine. Um, try to find what's causing that health issue and not have just band-aids or things that suppress the symptoms, because that's what the health industry is all about. I think there was a great quote by Dr. Mark Hyman, that we are part of the food industry that's feeding people without taking care of the health, and we are part of the health industry that's healing people where food doesn't mean anything. It should be the reverse thing. Food should be your first medicine. So I want everyone to just go to the root cause of things, try to find a solution for that. It doesn't have to be ART, it doesn't have to be restart. It can be much more than that. There are a lot of options out there, and you could be healed. Like, as our ART logo goes, it's like eat freely and live fully. You should be able to eat anything and everything and still be able to live freely and happily. And that's the life we want to crave for, right? So go find your strengths, and for you, Brad, you're doing a great thing by inspiring people, helping them move on to the career or the path that they have it at the back of their mind, and you're strengthening them. So that's such an amazing inspiration you are for them, and I'm so glad to be part of your journey, Brad. So thank you so much for having me over here.
Oh my gosh, total gift. This is wonderful. Thank you again for the time, Deepa. Seriously.
Same here, Brad.
Yeah, for sure. So, and what's cool is that now we get to interact at least for the next 5 weeks, and probably for much longer after that. And it sounds
Yeah,
like we'll have a lot to talk about. So that's exciting.
absolutely. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. So again, I just for all the folks that are watching, thanks again for watching and taking the time. I felt like I got a lot out of the time with Deepal, and one of the things that I want to really take away and send along to you that I heard from Deepal is, now is the time. Now is the time. Don't wait. There will never be a perfect time, other than now, because now is actually the perfect time. Once you know what it is that you're here to do, just go do it, and never quit. Commit to it. Go without expectation. So let's leave it on that note. And I'm going to say sayonara to everyone. And thank you again to you, Deepal.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.